On the Raiders Rundown, we're going to talk about trade rumors with the Las Vegas Raiders. Darren Waller is returning to practice, and the Raiders, Mark Davis and Derek Carr, faced their first ever head coach in Dennis Allen with the New Orleans Saints. Over 62% of my viewers are not subscribed, so make sure you subscribe to this channel for more NFL content. Las Vegas Raiders star tight end Darren Waller has returned to practice, thankfully. He was injured in Week 5 against the Kansas City Chiefs with a hamstring injury, and this is his first practice back. We've all been skeptical of the hamstring injury of Darren Waller because in August he missed several weeks of practice due to a hamstring injury, but this was quickly resolved once he switched to a new agent and signed a new contract. Then he was right back at practice, no hamstring issue there. But either way, Darren Waller is still back at practice, and the Raiders are still a better team with Darren Waller. I know a lot of fans out there are frustrated in how Waller has performed this year and are frustrated in the fact that he's had injuries since the Dallas Cowboys game last year, but there has been no Waller injuries all the time. For the first time in his career, he missed a significant portion of time last year in November. At more than halfway through the season, he finally missed time for the first time in his career as a starter. So it's kind of BS to say that this guy has always been injury prone. It only happened last year after Thanksgiving, and then he's only missed 2 games this year. So this guy has not been nearly as injury prone as so many other players on the Raiders roster. And I already know what's going to happen. The second that Darren Waller balls out one game, the second that he has a game like the game he had against the Ravens last year in Week 1, going over 100 yards, at that moment, all the people who are hating on him right now are going to be completely over his nuts. So I'm already predicting this happening in the future, and hopefully Darren Waller has a great game against the Saints since it looks like he'll be ready to go. And a lot of people want to see the Raiders make a big move, make a big trade, go get a big player, go get Ndamukong Suh. Who cares if he hasn't worked out all offseason? Who cares if he hasn't been a part of a team all season? Get him off the couch and have him come on this team right now. And some people have even been next level nuts. Let's go trade Darren Waller away. Who cares if we got him a brand new contract this year where we'll lose $20 million in dead money? Who cares about that? Go ahead and ship Darren Waller out of here. Let's get some more help on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe a right tackle. There are fans who are pondering all these crazy trade rumors, but a lot of them just are not realistic. I do not think they're going to grab Suh off the couch and have him start over all these defensive linemen who've been here all offseason and all season, nor do I think they're going to trade away their star tight end and lose money in the process of doing it. The only thing we've heard so far is the Jonathan Abram, Cleveland Farrell trade rumors by Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. So even though it'd be exciting, even though it'd be crazy to see a big trade happen, I'm going to go ahead and say I find this highly, highly unlikely. And the trade deadline is November 2nd, so we'll see if anything happens in the next 6 days. And the Raiders are headed to New Orleans to face a Saints team that has a decent defense, ranked 13th in the NFL right now, and also an offense that's actually ranked 14th. Very surprising, but hey, they have some decent players like Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. We're not sure if he's going to be back, but it's quite a possibility. And when you're looking at the lineup of the Raiders defense against the Saints offense, that's the one thing that you're kind of worried about in this moment, in this game. We know the pass rush is going to be lit with Max Crosby. We have some stable linebacker play now that we got Perryman healthy, Blake Martinez back in the mix as well, but the secondary is really the question mark for the Raiders ever since losing Nate Hobbs. That is something that we did not expect to happen. Fortunately, we have Anthony Averett back. However, he did struggle in this past game against the Texans, and hopefully now that he has more reps, he has his second week back, he'll be able to improve and help the secondary with the Las Vegas Raiders. Because Andy Dalton does have some weapons here with Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave. By the way, this dude has the 3rd highest PFF grade in the NFL. Keep in mind though, he hasn't played as many games as some of these other quarterbacks, so that's why he has an inflated grade. But a lot of us Raiders fans remember the Dennis Allen era with the Oakland Raiders in 2012. Oddly enough, Dennis Allen was the first head coach that Mark Davis ever hired. Mark Davis hired Reggie McKenzie, and then he eventually went on to hire Dennis Allen. This was after the Hugh Jackson era, and you know, Dennis Allen did inherit a tough situation with the Raiders. He didn't have any top draft picks, no first round pick, second round pick, third round pick, because Hugh Jackson the year prior in 2011 had made the trade for Carson Palmer in the middle of the season. It was a blockbuster trade. This was after Al Davis had passed away, and the Raiders had had their starting QB, Jason Campbell, get injured, and so Hugh Jackson was desperate and made a big move. But the Dennis Allen era was a complete disaster with the Raiders. They would go 4-12 2 years in a row, and he'd eventually be fired in 2014 during the season in Derek Carr's rookie year. But I will say the best move that Dennis Allen ever did make was to start Derek Carr over Matt Schaub in 2014. Yeah, Matt Schaub was a little banged up, so it made the decision a little easier, but he still pulled the plug on Matt Schaub for sure and started Derek Carr early as a rookie, which was a good call overall. And Dennis Allen was also the head coach of the Terrell Pryor era, that brief stint in 2013 with the Raiders before he'd go on to get injured and then eventually benched by Matt McGloin. Dennis Allen, the defensive-minded coach, did not have all the cards stacked in his favor when he was with the Raiders. However, he clearly was not the guy for the job in that particular moment in time. He has a second stint with the Saints, and he's going to try to prove this Sunday that the Raiders made a mistake. But let's hope the Raiders go in there to New Orleans and prove that Mark Davis made the right decision. Like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe to this channel for more Raiders content. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.